Sprinter Sacre is now established as the new star of the British national hunt scene and is a short price favourite for Wednesday's Queen Mother Champion Chase at Cheltenham. But his path to Nicky Henderson's Seven Barrows stable in Lambourne was a circuitous one. Both Henderson and bloodstock agent David Minton saw a 4-month-old Sprinter Sacre at a show for AQPS horses, those of mixed thoroughbred and non-thoroughbred pedigree, in Decize, France in August 2006, but passed up the opportunity to buy him. Luckily, that wasn't the end of the story, as Minton explained to me.
Nicky Henderson and I were down at Decize at the AQPS show in August of '06, and they bring all these mares and foals and yearlings and 2-year-olds, and it's pretty chaotic, wonderfully French, and the foals aren't led or anything, they just follow the poor mothers in amongst all these people. Sprinter Sacre was there, and we didn't see it and didn't notice it, so he obviously didn't stand out, and he went through completely unnoticed, and I might add Quavega was at the same place as well. And we obviously didn't pick her up, but she was very insignificant and small when she was young anyway. So.
But opportunity did come knocking, I think, 18 months or so later.
Well, it was amazing, actually, that Bob Fougidois, who's a big owner of Guillaume Macaires, and he's got very similar colours in France to J.P. McManus, green and yellow, and he decided in January of '08 that he was ill and he wanted to sell all his young stock, of which there were 22 horses. And David Powell, our agent in France, texted me and said, "There's this job lot. Do you think you'll have anybody interested?" So I asked him to send all the pedigrees through, and it just so happened I happened to be staying with Raymond Mould on the morning he faxed all the entries through to Raymond's fax machine.
Raymond Mould of Barton Bank and Charter Party, leading national hunt owner.
Green and yellow, green and white stars, famous colours, and so they all came through on Raymond's fax that morning on the Saturday morning, and he said, "What's all that?" And I went through all the pedigrees and we looked at it kind of closely. He said, "Well, what's the price?" I said, "Well, it's €300,000, the job lot." So he said, "Oh, I'll have a go at that." Obviously got him in a good mood that morning, and blow me down if Buffy Shirley Bevan, the vet, and I jumped on a boat on the Tuesday and got in at 8:45 to David Powell's, had breakfast, and then off to the stud at Harad de Huguenot, which is next door to David Powell's, and all the horses were there. We had them all vetted in 4 hours, and there were 22. There was one that was completely wrong with its wind, and we didn't want that. Well, the price wasn't going to change for one. There's a couple we weren't sure about, but we had to take them. And within the space of another 6 days, Raymond paid for them, and they arrived at Millhouse at home with us in Shropshire, and they were here at home within 10 days of the whole thing starting off, which was quite amazing, really. Sprinter Sacre then was turned out in the field here for his first year. He was broken in quietly as a 2-year-old. We had him all through that time, 2-year-old and 3-year-old. And he went to Nicky in January of his 4-year-old, so that's in 2010. I mean, lived here all his life. And he then ran in the 2 bumpers and was very impressive at Ayr. And then came back, and he comes back here for his summer break all the way through.
And did you have any inkling the second time around that he'd turn out to be as good as he is?
Yes, definitely the second time. There was, well, might add, there was quite an exceptional bunch of horses, and there were some extremely good-looking horses, and 14 of them have won out of the 21, actually. But with Sprinter obviously being head over heels better than any of the others, and he stood out. We didn't think he was as a champion as a 3-year-old when he was just being hacked around the farm and everything, but certainly he then, after his bumpers, Nicky said, "I think we might have something a bit special here," which he then duly went over his hurdles, got actually beaten the first time, but he was sick, was then impressive, and then was 3rd in the Supreme. So it all worked rather well, and he's now hopefully proved he's going to be one of the greats with a bit of luck.